final score. Wrexham 0, Leamington 0. Leamington winning 6-5 on penalties. And Wrexham going out of the FA Trophy. I'm Mark Griffiths from the Wrexham AFC media team, and here's what happened. Well, Wrexham fielded up a much changed side from the one that won at Weymouth on Tuesday, retaining the three at the back but shuffling everything around massively. Christian Dibble, the trophy goalkeeper, so he came in between the sticks, and then the defence, apart from Sean Pearson getting some more minutes under his belt, was completely reshaped, with Max Cleworth and Mark Carrington either side of Pearson in a back three, each making their first appearance of the season. Wing backs changed as well. Paul Rutherford and, on the left hand side, Jordan Davis getting a start after his brilliant second half performance on Tuesday. James Horsfield was the anchor in midfield. Ahead of him, Durrell and Jarvis, also getting a reward for his good sub appearance, as too was Yusuf up front alongside Kwame Thomas. So Thomas, Durrell and Pearson, the only players surviving from Tuesday's match. Now, you wouldn't have thought this in the first half. Wrexham played well in the first half, made chances and should have been ahead. That's not to underestimate Leamington, who came into it off a 5-0 win on Tuesday and plays with good attacking intention. But in the first half, Wrexham did look at a better team. Admittedly, Waldron had the first chance of the match for Leamington in the second minute, cutting inside well, getting between Cleworth and Rutherford and driving in a shot, which was going wide just about. Dibble didn't want to take any chances, dived down low to his right and held it. And after that, really, it was Wrexham making the opportunities. A great chance after 12 minutes, some really good interplay between Horsfield and Rutherford down the right-hand side. Horsfield hitting the goal line and pulling in a fantastic cross. Thomas and Mark 6 yards out. Should have scored, to be honest, but instead he planted his header over the bar. Another nice move then saw Yusuf feed Thomas, and he drove the ball into the goalmouth just too far ahead of Jarvis for the midfielders to be able to get a decisive touch. Another nice bit of interplay. Jarvis helping the ball on cutely when off balance to Davis. He swung in across and Thomas met that with another header. This time a more difficult one, about 10 yards out, and he put it wide of the left post. Leamington, certainly, although they weren't creating many chances, were going forwards and looking promising. And from one of those attacks, a big diagonal by Wally was headed down into the goalmouth by Edwards, who was the only real aerial threat that Leamington had. For once, there was a bit of a gap between Pearson and Cleworth, and Smith, the centre forward, ran into that space and just couldn't reach it, or he'd have been all on his own in the middle of the penalty area. Then it was Wrexham back on the front foot and carving out some real chances. Firstly, it was Jarvis holding the ball up really well, finding Davis, who drove in off the diagonal into the box, hit a vicious shot. It was blocked, but span back out to Durrell, who really should have scored 6 yards out, but he managed to hit a defender. Then Rutherford breaking forwards, feeding a nice pass inside, Yusuf spinning and having beaten his man, driving it wide of the right-hand post from 10 yards. Pearson then going on the charge from the centre of defence, helping out wide to Jordan Davis, who swung in a ball. Pearson got up well and headed the ball, but too straight. Easy hold for the keeper. And in added time, even Max Cleworth tried to join in, driving an ambitious shot from 30 yards, which is always going over, but it was a decent contact nonetheless. The second half was completely different. Wrexham had used the wing backs well in the first half to really stretch the pitch, and had, once they'd done that, opened up passing lanes in the middle of the pitch, allowing the centre backs to drive balls straight to the forwards. Well, Leamington reacted to this. They cut off the supply to the wide players. They made it less difficult for Wrexham to pass through the middle of the pitch. Oh, less easy, beg your pardon. And they started to threaten themselves, and the second half, well, especially the first 25 minutes of it, really were one-sided, and Leamington ought to have scored during that time. Lovely build-up play, teed up Osborne outside the box, and he hit a good strike with his right foot, which hit the inside of the right post and bounced back out into the goalmouth. The striker Smith tapped it into the net and wheeled away in celebration, but he was offside. 5 minutes later, another opportunity, a ball coming into the box, a scramble. May had a glorious chance 6 yards out, completely mishit it. The ball was driven back in and took a deflection off Carrington's head over the bar for a corner. And when that ball came in, it was half cleared to Morley, who hit it from 30 yards with terrific power, a real rocket, straight at Dibble, but he couldn't hold it, and he responded well to leap forwards and grab hold of it before that rebound could be tapped in. Osborne then had another effort from 25 yards, another real stinger, and again Dibble had to get behind it a bit too straight, luckily for Wrexham. Osborne getting round the sides of the defence, pulling the ball back, but too strong and nobody could make contact. And then a scary moment for Wrexham's skipper, 20 minutes from the end. But nasty ball played over the top. He was chasing his own goal, the ball bouncing awkwardly and Smith on his shoulder. He managed to get there and turn away from Smith, but his touch was heavy and May was through on goal. Pearson lunged in a last desperate tackle just outside the box and fouled May. It was a red card, but the referee was determined to not give yellows, and so he determined that red card foul was a yellow, and Pearson got away with it. The free kick was hit by Osborne, a nice strike as well, but the wall just about deflected it over the bar. But yeah, Pearson was very lucky. The ref then would go on to book 2 more players, both Wrexham players. Jarvis, really rather harsh considering a lot of the things that he let go for being late on May, but I think May's scream may have drawn the ref's attention to it. And then Carrington for an unintended late tackle, which frankly was high and quite hard and could have been judged as a red, in all honesty. I think the ref was right to give a yellow, but a strange mixture of 3 yellow cards we picked up today. To be fair to Wrexham, in the last 15, we picked up and we looked more dangerous. It's mostly Jordan Davis' set pieces that were causing problems. Firstly, a free kick, which was swung in. A defender got his head to it, but floated it over his keeper across the face of goal. Thomas, rushing in, just couldn't get there in time and it went behind for a corner. Davis swung a couple of very good corners in as well, which troubled the Leamington defence. And Durrell drilled a 20-yard strike with real power. It was parried by Weaver, straight back out in front of him. And Dan Jarvis with a real chance, but a tricky one. Sorry, I got hiccups. Lunging at it off balance. Struck the ball on the volley. The keeper off balance couldn't do anything. But the ball whistled just wide of the left post. Wrexham nearly got lucky in the first minute of added time. I beg your pardon, the first minute of added time. Cleworth feeding the ball straight through to Bickerstaff, who by this time had come on for Adi Yusuf. And he did really well running at the last defender to nutmeg him in the goal mouth, but the defender, Lane, just did enough to stay between him and ball and was able to deal with it. He was unlucky. And then in the 95th minute, our other sub that we used, Anthony Jeffrey, who'd come on as a right wing back for Paul Rutherford, well, this was a lucky one. If we'd managed in the last minute of added time in both matches this week to have scored a winner, well, I think we'd known the gods are smiling on us. Jeffrey drove in across, it took a deflection, span up in the air, and this time was looking like it was going to dip inside the near post, but Weaver got across and just about managed to tip it over for a corner. It came to nothing, and the final whistle blew. Straight to penalties, and Leamington went first. Osborne drilled it in the bottom left corner, great penalty. Kwame Thomas stepped up and scored. It was a good penalty, and it had to be, because he drilled it hard halfway up the right-hand post, just inside it, and Weaver got across brilliantly and got his hands to it and deflected it into the roof of the net. If they hadn't been so well placed or so well struck, that would have been a save. Lane, the centre-back, then came up and also, like Osborne before him, sent Dibble the wrong way. Jordan Davis stepped up and struck a glorious penalty into the bottom left corner. Wrexham favourite Joe Clark then stepped up, waited for Dibble to move and drove it through the centre. And then Jarvis had an absolute copy of Thomas's penalty, the same spot and the same outcome. Weaver anticipating, getting his hands to it and pushing it upwards into the roof of the net. A lucky escape. And the goals kept going in. Callum Gittings had been brought on very late, one would assume to take a penalty, and he also waited for Dibble to move and drove it down the middle. Mark Carrington stepped up and made it 4-4 with a lovely lifted finish in the top right corner. And then, as it was a virtually sudden death, Morley came up and kept his cool. Lovely penalty drilled into the bottom right. Durrell, needing to score to take the game into sudden death proper, stepped up and finished with aplomb. So 5-5, and now the drama would really begin. Up stepped Anderson, another substitute for Leamington. Drilled it high and hard, hit the underside of the bar, bounced down and back out again. He'd missed, and Wrexham had a chance. James Horsfield stepped up. If he scores, Wrexham are through to the next round, but it wasn't a great penalty. Hit it very hard, but very straight, and Weaver getting his hands down low by his right foot, was able to push it away. So the chance was gone. Edwards, the skipper, stepped up for Leamington and put a good penalty inside the left post. And Anthony Jeffrey then stepping up, knowing that if he missed, Wrexham were out. Went for power down the middle. Weaver dived to his right, but the keeper did really well to keep his left foot and hand there, stretch back and make a great save. And Wrexham were out of the FA Trophy. Do I care? Yes, because I don't like Wrexham losing. No, because as Neil Williams rightly pointed out when we were commentating, this COVID season, and we came back from the commentary to find out that there was another lockdown beginning at midnight. This COVID season is going to be complex and difficult and challenging, and fixture lists are going to be hard to complete. So I can live with the idea that we don't have fixture congestion. We're still in the mix for promotion. And the teams above us, if they end up playing 3 games a week, will suffer. So maybe it's not the worst thing that we don't have FA Trophy games if we can rearrange matches on those dates. I've got to say, yeah, certainly it was a weakened team. That indicates what Dean Keats was thinking, I guess, about the importance of this competition. Having said that, in the first half, I don't think we'd have thought it was a weakened team because we played well. But all credit to Leamington. Takes 2 to tango. Leamington came back well in the second half and deserved to win the game, frankly, I think. Having said that, I mean, okay, let's look at these weaknesses. Well, you can't blame Dibble for anything. He did nothing wrong. The defence, okay, we made 2 changes to that, but frankly, we defended pretty well and kept a clean sheet. So I don't think you can point the finger at that area of the pitch either. The wing-backs, I thought, played well. I think Rutherford might have been a pre-planned change, you know. Interesting that Jeffrey came on rather than Hall Johnson. Was this prioritising getting Jeffrey minutes and having a look at how he could operate as a wing-back rather than putting on the man who would be the first choice right wing-back? Interesting decision in that case. And Davis was good on the left again. Centre mid and up front were the problems. In the first half, the centre of midfield was great. Horsfield did well. And on paper, you might think it's a little lightweight to have Durrell and Jarvis ahead of him in the midfield 3. In the second half, it did look that way. Leamington dominated the middle of the pitch and we lost control of the game. And up front, to be honest, Thomas and Yusuf had pretty unhappy games. Bickerstaff looked more lively, frankly, when he came on. Things just weren't coming off for them. They're missing chances and struggling to keep the ball up in the, especially in the second half up the pitch. So Wrexham go out. Disappointing. Maybe just go through in detail those performances as well. I mean, I say Dibble, fine. Didn't have that much to do, in all honesty. The centre-backs, Pearson continues to come back. I thought he played well. He won a few good headers. Should have been sent off, I thought, to be honest. But hey, Cleworth did ever so well. He was composed on the ball. He dealt with things defensively well. He passed the ball well, brought the ball out from the back well. Carrington was great to see after being out for so long with an injury. Great to see Carrington in that sort of mood. He really looked impressive to me. Defended well and again, typically used the ball well. Rutherford, yeah, well, I say, I don't think his substitution was a comment on him. He was industrious, very threatening in the first half, got in some nice positions. On the left, Davis, excellent in the first half. His combination play with Jarvis, I beg your pardon, his combination play, yeah, with Jarvis was impressive. In the second half, he faded out of it for a little bit as an attacking player, but had no problems defensively, and then came into it again in the latter stages and put a series of good set plays in. Horsfield was tidy, I thought, as a holding midfielder. I think we learned from this game that we certainly could trust him in that role. His use of the ball is economic. He takes 1 or 2 touches and just moves the ball along. He covered the ground well laterally as well. I quite liked him. Durrell put in a good shift, to be fair to him, battled away and maybe looked at his most dangerous in the last 20 minutes. Jarvis played well, but again faded a little second half, but had some nice touches, nice setup play. And up front, like I said, Thomas and Yusuf didn't have happy games. Man of the match, toss-up between Carrington and Cleworth for me. Davis and Pearson possibly could be arguing they could be in the mix as well. And I would go Cleworth. I think Cleworth showed good promise, and for a young lad thrown into his first game of the season like that, he did well. So, anyway, we're out the FA Trophy. I'd rather we weren't, but I don't think I'll be losing any sleep over it, to be honest with you. The final score of Wrexham 0, Leamington 0. Wrexham losing 6-5 on penalties. I'm Mark Griffiths from the Wrexham AFC media team. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe as well so you don't miss out on any of our content, and click the bell to get notifications.